Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tim here, and just here at the hospital. Um, so it ended up not being anything super serious. It was just like a kind of panic attack. But I did decide to go ahead and just get some additional tests and stuff, just because I haven't had a checkup in a few years, and this has definitely been kind of a wake-up call for me. I've definitely I'm definitely obese and all that, and especially compared to kind of the Japanese weight system, I'm way overweight. So definitely I'm gonna start doing a little bit more exercise. Just thinking about getting back into Ring Fit Adventure, which I was into for a while, but I kind of stopped. But I'm gonna keep going. I think things are gonna be okay. And my guest today is Brendan.
Hello again. We're all just happy you're okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, Today we're gonna look at A Way Out. This game kind of reminds me of those good times that we used to have together.
For sure.
So thought we could talk about the kind of different mini games in that game.
Yeah.
First up, we have the Horseshoe contest. I thought it was an average mini game. I think it's difficult your first time maybe, but once you kind of get a hold of what's going on, throw it at the apex of the throw, and you can pretty much get 25 points every time. So it's fun initially, but I think that it doesn't have any longevity. So I think I'd give it a B.
Yeah, B for me too. It was a little hard to get it right, and it wasn't that satisfying. Um, yeah, B for me.
Okay, so next up we have the Banjo and Piano minigame. So basically, if you choose like expert mode, for example, if you make even just one or two mistakes, it boots you back down to the easy mode. And I wish that it would keep you on the expert mode so that you could have a chance to actually practice the more difficult rhythms, the more difficult button presses. Um, but I do think it's satisfying to play a song together with your partner, and then when the cutscene plays after you successfully get a bunch of notes in a row, I think that's very satisfying. So I think I would give it an A.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty well developed mini game. There's all the different levels, and I can see why they like did the thing where they slow it down when you start making mistakes. It's almost like, when you're messing up, you kind of slow yourself down and like feel your way back. But as a game, it's frustrating because you want to just practice at the tempo. But it's fun to play the music, and it kind of brings the characters together. Um, yeah, an A for me.
Okay, so next up we have the baseball game, and I think unlike the banjo one with a very lenient window, this one, when you're playing as the batter, the window is way too tight. I was missing like every other shot, whereas you were hitting like every single shot every time. So it definitely felt like a latency issue to me. It feels inconsistent. It feels like you should better be able to kind of aim which way you want the ball to go. Maybe if the camera angle could help control that. And also just that the spins on the balls, they don't make any difference. So literally you're just throwing balls, you're just pressing a button again and again, and you're only just throwing the balls for the benefit of your partner. So I think it's a rather one-sided mini game, and I don't think it's very fun with the latency issues, so I would give it a C.
Yeah, I had a little different experience because it felt really great to to be the batter and hit the balls really far. That was really fun. But yeah, it doesn't feel good when you're the pitcher and you don't feel like you're really able to control anything. And also, even when you're batting, you just feel like your friend isn't able to do much. So yeah, and the latency was an issue for us. So I think that's a C too overall.
Okay, so next up we have the arm wrestling minigame, and This one I felt to be very disappointing. The kind of test your strength minigame concept. I mean, they already had that with the gym minigames that you do solo, like lifting weights and stuff like that. So this is just basically a kind of versus version of that, and it just doesn't really have any replay value because generally one person will be better at mashing than the other, and once you know who that is, there's no replay value. There's no way to improve. It's just you know who's the better masher. That's it. So it's a good for one time, and then you're never going to play it again. So I would give it a C.
Yeah, same here. I hate button mashing mini games. Even like back in Mario Party, those were always my least favorite. I don't want to like give myself carpal tunnel on this stupid game. So yeah, C for me. But also congrats on beating me. You are the better button masher.
While I was eating a sandwich.
True.
Okay, so the next one I'll talk about is Connect Four, and this one, I love Connect Four. I think it's one of the best board games out there, and this is a full-featured version of it. It's everything that you could want. My only problem with it really is just how swimmy the controls are. You'll press left and then it'll overshoot and go way to the left or way to the right. So I think that's a big problem. Your first couple times you might accidentally put your thing in the wrong lane, and that is obviously devastating in a Connect Four game.
Devastating.
Well, I take Connect Four very seriously. So I think for that reason I would give it an A. But I think if it didn't have that issue, which to be fair, you can get used to it after a while, but even so, it feels like you have to play slowly and deliberately. So I would give it an A.
Yeah, it's super fun, and I like the way that they framed it with like the two guys on the couch, like behind the board thing. It's a neat kind of setup, and I wasn't too bothered by the controls because I kind of take more time to think on this one because I'm not as good. But yeah, solid A. It's a good game, and I know you're in a hospital right now. I'm like thinking about that hospital scene now in the game.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. Yeah. Which leads us into the next one, which I believe is the wheelchairs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the wheelchairs I think are a very solid minigame. I think it might be the best minigame in the game. It's so simple but so effective. It's also one of those minigames that's not reliant on latency. It feels like you're just competing with your friend, and you don't have to worry about latency at all. And it can be surprisingly addictive to see how long you can last. In terms of the gameplay, it reminds me a lot of like Tony Hawk, where you have to balance the meter to get like a manual going, or if you're grinding or whatever. But anyway, it's a great minigame. Love it. I would give it an S.
It feels really silly in the context of the game because like the whole reason they're in the hospital is that the guy Vincent's wife just had a baby. Come on, Connect Four is serious business, but like taking time to balance in these wheelchairs just feels completely absurd.
Yeah, I do agree that it feels out of place based on where they are in the story.
But I still give it an S. It's fun to find these kind of little competitive things in the game.
Yeah. And going back to what you said about the scoring, I think that, compared to something like the Horseshoes, where it's like you get 25 and that's it. With this one, it feels like there's no upper score limit. You can go just as high as you're able to.
Yep.
And I think that adds a lot of replayability.
Yeah.
Next one is Grenade Brothers. I don't know why it's called that, but I guess if that volleyball is supposed to be a grenade or something. But it's kind of like a volleyball style game. You're throwing this
arcade
kind of
game.
Ball back and forth. Yeah, it's like an arcade game. And I think the concept is great, but the latency issues make it like cripplingly bad. And I think even without that, there's this weird delay when you start an action. You'll press left and then it goes. And then on top of that, when you move, the sensitivity is way too high. You're moving way too fast to left or right. And in this type of kind of, knockout style game, you definitely don't want that. You want the controls to be feeling really tight. So I think that combined with the latency issues in general, like it just feels like it was designed for couch co-op, but it feels like the majority of people will be playing it online where it's not going to hit well. So I would definitely give this a B, even though I think it could have been the best mini game in the game. It could have been an S, but there's just too many issues with it.
Yeah, and it's weird too. We had sort of different experiences. I had no latency issues. Controls were fine. Again, it's just something with the remote play and
Yeah, it was like unplayable. I remember.
yeah, could have been because I had the host computer. So, but yeah, I would have given it an A. But if those issues are dragging you down, then it's got to be a B that affects both of us. I don't want to feel like I'm getting cheap shots.
Yeah.
So,
I think regardless, I think you were better at it than I was, but
okay.
it just felt horrible to play. All right, so the last one here is the darts mini game. This could have been an amazing game. Darts is a great concept, and it works well with anti-latency concerns. But there's a major issue, and it's the whole breathing mechanic. So first of all, I'm glad that they included a breathing mechanic. It's basically like as you're throwing it, like your aim is slowly moving around. It makes it less trivial to just throw it on the bullseye or throw it on the triple 20 every time. But in this case, they really screwed up the mechanic because they made it in a fixed pattern. It's always like a figure 8. So basically, all you have to do is just line it up on the place where you want to hit once. Just line it up once, and then from then on, all you have to do is time the breathing to when it lands on that figure 8 to when it lands where you want it. Then just throw, and you get a perfect score every time. You get the maximum of 180 on the triple 20, and it could have been a great game if the breathing had been random. But because it's not, it's a solved game. You can get 180 literally every time once you know the secret, and so I would say C. But it could have been a great game.
Yeah, as soon as you showed me that trick and I lined it up, like, yeah, it was easy to get it just perfect every time. There's still timing, but it would be way better if it was randomized. So yeah, C for me too.
Thanks again for doing this, man. I appreciate it. And do you think you'd be able to maybe hang out for one last tier list at some point? We only have a few left, but
I'm really sorry, man. It's just, I'm so busy with these gigs, just Christmas stuff. It's really getting packed. I just don't see where I could fit it in before Christmas. But after Christmas, we could totally play some games. But yeah, I don't have time.
okay. No, you know what? That's okay. You've done a lot for me already, and it's only a few more days, so I'm going to tough it out, and yeah, I look forward to playing more games with you soon.
Yeah, but take care of yourself. Take it easy over there.
Yeah, I gotta go pick up some medicine. I'm gonna head out of here, and then yeah, just a few more days left. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next one.